okay, for your group discussion, these are the skills needed. They seem a lot. Okay, they seem a lot, but I can assure you, when you speak, these things will come out naturally. Okay, but I just want to focus on a few of them lah. Okay. Alright, number one is agreement and disagreement. Agreement and disagreement, they are very direct. Okay, so you either agree or you disagree, and then you just say, oh, I agree with you, I believe in the same point as well. And then when you disagree, you simply say, I disagree with you, I think that is wrong. Macam tu. Okay, what I want to focus on is partial agreement. Okay, partial agreement means you only agree with the point tapi setengah aja. Okay, you only agree with what the person said up to a point. For example, their point you agree, but their explanation you disagree. Macam tu. Okay, so that is the use of partial agreement. Partial agreement, I highly suggest my students use this because it shows that you are able to see things from different point of views. You are able to be critical of what other people are saying. You are able to be critical of their opinions. So when you are able to be critical of their opinions, this shows maturity in your speech. And maturity in speech is given marks because you are able to say that, oh, okay, your point is good, but I think this is how we can make it better. So you are suggesting ways based on your critical view on that specific opinion. Okay, so these are some of the statements that you can use to show partial agreement. Okay, contoh lah. Okay, contoh lah. Luqman say, I like the color blue because it is very calming. Okay, you agree with what Luqman said. You agree that oh, the color blue is very nice, it is calming. Okay, so you can say, I agree with you, Luqman, up to a point when you say that the color blue is calming. However, I believe that the color white is more calming. Contoh macam tu. This is because you give reason lah kenapa. So you basically say macam, oh, your point is good, but I think my point is better because of this, this and this. Macam tu. Okay. Tak pun another example would be, contoh lah, Amelia say, in my opinion, women these days should work because we need to have our own money in case of anything. Okay. And then Bhuvanesh say macam, okay, Bhuvanesh thinks that it is important for women to have money, but not because of the same reason. Okay, Bhuvanesh will say, although what you said may be true when you mention that women these days need to work, I don't agree with the part where you mention that women should work because anything could happen. Like for example, their husbands might be irresponsible, or their husbands might die someday and they might not have income altogether. Lepas tu then you explain lah your reason kenapa. Okay, that is the use of partial agreement. Alright, and then this is for when you want to interrupt and prompt other people to speak. Usually we interrupt when number one, somebody said something and then right then and there you got an idea, and you are afraid that if you were to not interrupt, you might not have enough time to speak. You might not have enough time to speak too. That's not the issue. You might lose that idea. Macam if I were to wait and if I were to write, if I were to write this point first, it's gonna be less significant then. So I'm just going to interrupt right now. Boleh. Okay, you can interrupt. Another reason why people interrupt is because the discussion is getting out of topic. You want to make sure that you are only discussing the topic. You don't want to get out of the topic, because when you get out of the topic, that means that the discussion is going sideways, and when that happens, your marks will be at risk. Okay, because you are no longer discussing about the topic. So what are the examiners assessing now? Okay, so we don't want that to happen. So one of you can always interrupt to make sure that all of the other candidates are actually talking about the topic discussed at hand. Okay, alright. Number 3, another situation is when one of the speakers takes too much time talking. Contohlah, in the discussion, Izian takes too long to speak. Dia macam cakap tak berhenti-berhenti, lepas tu cerita pasal mak dia, pasal nenek dia and stuff. Sorry Izian, I'm just using you as an example. So you want to make sure that you go back to the topic at hand. So you can simply say, excuse me Izian, that was a very good point, but let's go back to what we were discussing earlier. Okay, you can say something like that. And then another one is when you notice one of the speakers speaks very little. Okay, contohlah macam you are in a discussion and then Arvin speaks very little. You notice that. So you can always interrupt and say, excuse me, it seems like Arvin wants to say something. Arvin, what do you think about the topic that we are discussing today? Macam tu. Remember, in a group discussion, you are not just assessed in terms of your speaking ability. You are also assessed in terms of your group discussion skills. Group discussion skills mean if you are able to communicate effectively, if you are able to prompt other people to speak, if you are able to make sure that it is not just one-way interaction, you will be given more marks. That is why when you see that there are candidates who are struggling to speak, you can always help them. You can always assist them, especially when they are having difficulty finding the right word to say, when they are finding it difficult to initiate speaking. Kan ada certain people kan macam dia nak cakap but they are nervous. You can always assist them. When you assist them, this actually gives you more marks because it shows that you are able to communicate effectively and you are also able to interact with other people successfully. Discussion tau, ni discussion bukan presentation. Memang sepatutnya ada interaction. Okay? Alright, let's move on to the next one. Okay, asking for and giving clarification. So these are the phrases that you can use. Asking for and giving clarification means, contohlah macam they say this one thing and then you want to check and see whether or not what they say is in line with what you understand. Contohlah, Syawal say that, in my opinion, the best course in the world is medicine because it gives you a lot of money when you work. Contoh, okay? And then Luqman heard this and then Luqman macam, betul ke aku faham benda ni? So you can always ask. So Syawal, earlier you said that medicine is the best course because when you work in that field, you are able to earn more money. Is that true? Lepas tu kalau Syawal macam, oh okay, that's what I meant. So you can Syawal can simply say, oh that's true. Kalau tak betul, Syawal has to say, no, what I meant to say was, and then you have to give clarification lah. Okay? These things, they sound like a lot, but I can assure you, you actually use these skills in day-to-day conversation. It's just that you don't notice that you are using them because there are no specific labels. Contohlah macam tengah gaduh dengan mak kan, macam mak masak lemak cili api hari ni, contoh and then you ask, mak, tadi mak kata mak masak apa? Masak lemak cili api itu asking for clarification lah tu. That is an example.